small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Life can throw a lot at us, but what helps us through it is knowing we have a place where we feel loved, grounded, and safe. A place where we belong. A place called home. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we care for homeless and at-risk youth, working in communities just like yours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here, these kids will get a shower, clean clothes, nourishing meals, and a safe place to sleep. Our caring staff teach life skills, offer stability, and encourage kids to believe in themselves so they stay off the streets for good. We're committed to giving lost, scared, and hurting children a place to go, a place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
It's the last ball you gotta bet. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Monday morning, Jay Henley. David, I knocked the volume thing down off the table, so I can't control the individual. I don't know how I knocked it down, but apparently I did. You're listening to go up just a little bit on me if you would. There we go. Thank you. Normally I can control it myself. I'm self-sufficient for the most part.
You are.
Unless the thing falls. I was trying to find it, and I was like, where is it? And then I saw it on the floor. But anyway, it is Monday morning. Still got 2 NFL wildcard weekend games to go today. You are listening to the Inside Drive live on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can watch us on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. Click that like, subscribe, follow, repost, share, whatever other button you can do it. Do it for us because you love the Inside Drive. And we appreciate all of our listeners, especially the ones driving around, making deliveries, making stuff happen, and stay warm the next few days because you got a snow cap on today. It was 62 when I pulled in.
Yeah, but when I started this morning, it was cold. It was early.
It wasn't that cold.
Yeah.
Not as cold as it's going to be in the rest of the week.
This is true.
That is for sure. But a little PSA, make sure if you've got a well or if you've got any exposed pipe, it doesn't happen very often except it happened last December. We had a deep freeze last December for multiple days under freezing, which isn't good for our fauna. Our flora around. Not good for your fauna either. Don't leave your pets outside, Jay.
Yes.
Keep your pets inside.
Sailors inside.
Good, because it's going to be nice and chilly. But yes, if you got any pipes, any exposed things that may have water in them, you want to make sure they're covered up. Because the worst thing that could happen, those pipes freeze and crack. It just doesn't happen very often here in Florida, so we're not as prepared as other places in the country. And you know who is prepared?
Who is prepared?
The Buffalo Bills fan base, as they've been shoveling snow up there for pretty much 24 hours around the clock, trying to get it ready for a game that starts in, 4.5 hours.
Wow.
Coming up here soon. Did you watch any football this weekend?
Didn't watch a lot of football this weekend, so I'm excited to hear
I'm glad
recap.
you come to the show to get a little recap action going on. But yes, just a little weather PSA out there. It's going to be tomorrow morning. We're going to have some rain. It's going to be as warm as it's going to be in the morning, and then it's going to get chilly, and it's going to stay chilly for a little while. But Thursday and Friday are looking to be nice. Weekend getting a little chilly again as well. The golf course, stay tuned on our Facebook page for some updates, but we may not be open tomorrow or Wednesday. Golf shop may be open for a little while, but we'll take a look at that, just trying to adjust. Is January it's our winter. We get about 3 weeks.
Yep.
And then it gets warm again. Hopefully soon.
Coldest day of the year is January 19th, and then
that's what she told us. That is what she told us. And today is Monday, January 15th.
There you go.
You got some plans later on?
What?
I'm just kidding.
Hey,
kidding.
I may.
You
I don't
teaching
know.
this afternoon?
I am teaching a little bit.
Did you teach this morning?
A little bit. I did.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Sweet. It's a beautiful morning to do it.
Got to get it in today because it ain't happening tomorrow or Wednesday.
Now it's going to warm up on Thursday. Now, the good news is I think we have a flag football game on Thursday. The weather looks to be in the upper 50s come about game time, so we'll take that. Tonight it's going to be in the upper 50s, low 60s with no winds. We're going to do a little practice action, although I think the game's tomorrow. It's going to be a little dicey, that's for sure. We don't have a game tomorrow, but
okay.
We haven't played a game in what feels like 2 years.
That's what I was thinking. Like, what, mid-December?
Yes, I think it was December 14th or something like that. It was a hot minute ago, that is for sure. It feels, and it's not hot outside, but it feels like a long, long time ago.
Yes, sir.
See, I can tell. Yeah, December 16th.
Wow.
And our next game is the 18th. Luckily, the weather's holding off for that. We were supposed to have a game last week, but that was during the crazy storms that came through about a week ago.
We've had it all, haven't we? It seems.
Winter in the Panhandle.
You know, December, do you remember all the weekends in December? I remember because it affects my business, but we had rain every weekend for like the first 3 December.
Yep, and it was kind of chilly during the week, and then it'd be raining during the weekend, and here we are in December. But it'll be spring break before we know it.
We're due for some good stuff.
Oh yeah, it's coming. That's for sure. Maybe not anytime soon, but it's definitely around the corner. So you didn't watch any football? Huh?
You know, I mean, I can catch the highlights, if you will, but
all right, let's have a little quiz. All right. Let's see how much you spent on just knowing in general. Who won the Browns-Texans game?
Let's see. Oh, the Texans won.
They did.
Yeah.
Who won the Dolphins-Chiefs game?
The Chiefs did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who won the Bills-Steelers game?
The Bills-Steelers game. That is this afternoon at 3:30.
You passed the test.
Yes.
Man, I was thinking you'd stumble there, but you did good. Who won the Rams-Lions game?
This is going to be. I
that
think
was last night.
The only reason
the best game out of the 3
was
for sure.
it. I heard Stafford was struggling a good bit, so I'm going to go out on a limb.
He threw for like 380 yards or something like that. Yeah. Puka Nacua set a rookie receiving playoff yardage record.
Still going with the Lions.
They did. They won by a single point. A single point. Some may say that on that one play on 4th down, that Puka Nacua was held pass interference and had a late hit. But the refs seemed to, throughout the playoffs, kind of put away the whistles a little bit and let everybody play. So, ifs and buts, candies and nuts. And then, of course, who won the Dallas-Green Bay game?
Oh, boy. Green Bay put a stomping on them.
So you do. You get a little snippets of the sports world.
Yeah,
they did.
Social media.
They did. Yes, the over covered in that one. That's for sure. But the Vegas won on that one. That's for sure. Vegas between the Lions and the Cowboys in a teaser was one of the most bet things out there. And with the Cowboys losing yesterday, that certainly changed things for Vegas. Put a little more money in their pocket.
Coach Hale said it earlier last week about that Chiefs-Dolphins game. It was like bet the house on the Chiefs, and that probably should have.
But, we talked about Pacheco, and it's just tough. We can dive into that game or whichever game or golf, whatever you want to do, Jay. You can call
I watched a little bit of golf this week.
So you did watch golf?
Just a bit.
Not football.
Not football. But,
interesting.
Looked beautiful over in Hawaii, and I think our boy Grayson Murray ended up winning that tournament in a playoff last night, I believe.
He
did not see the playoff.
Yes, he overcomes those personal struggles. He had been dealing with some stuff for the last couple of years, and he's back, though, playing on the PGA Tour and won himself that tournament yesterday. Not a whole lot of names. Now, I think he won like $1.4 million or something like that, where the previous week at the Century, it was like 3.2 for first place.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, the signature signature event.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I got
Yep.
you.
Those inflated purses and all that good stuff. But yeah, as you mentioned, he hit a wayward tee shot on the 72nd hole, and his playing partner had a birdie opportunity to win. But you didn't see that coming, did you? Another wayward tee shot on the first playoff hole for Grayson Murray, one that clipped a tree, and it wasn't even picked up by ShotLink. Few could have envisioned Grayson Murray winning the 2024 Sony Open. But with 106 yards to the flag for his third shot on that hole, and both his opponents, Keegan Bradley and Ben On, in trouble around the green, Murray's caddy, Jay Green, pressed the man for some motivation. He said, "Show me something," Green said to Murray. It took another shot from Murray to follow through, but boy, did he deliver. After putting his wedge shot some 39 feet from the hole, Murray drained that putt, the ensuing birdie putt, and then watched Bradley and On miss their shorter putts to have the hole. That's not the right term. To force another playoff, they both missed, giving Murray the title over there at Wailea Country Club, the Sony Open. It was his second PGA Tour title after the 2017 Barbasol Championship. But this comes with far more benefits. He's into the Masters for the first time in his career, as well as the Players, the PGA Championship, and the 7 remaining signature events on the PGA Tour calendar.
Wow. Well, each event is so funny. It's like last week they were talking about the bomb drives. Everybody hitting at 450 yards. This week, holes 9 and 18 were the par 5s. They played downwind on Thursday, Friday, and these par 5s are like 520 yards. So these guys are hitting driver like little wedge shots in. I think they combined up to, and I don't know the exact number, Ryan, but they had they were 470 under par or something like that, just on those 2 par 5s all week long.
That's wild.
Is that wild?
It is.
Crazy.
He didn't know if he was going to have his 2023 PGA Tour card. He's out. We talked about, coming back and dealing with some issues around addiction, but just another circumstance. I knew today was going to change my life, Murray said. My fiance changed my life. We talked to, who'd we talk to not too long ago? Charlie Belgian, right?
Yes,
dealing with alcoholism. Ooh, why do I have this note in my calendar?
Isn't that interesting?
Well, ask Jay to whip out his guitar. Stop. It must be a weekly reoccurring.
Hey, you got a weekly reminder. All right, so Monday, according to Siri, is now a new thing with good old Jay and his guitar.
Glad I read the bottom line there, not just the top line.
That's the same notification that we had before, but yes.
Yeah,
we prefer the guitar. This is a family show. So.
Right.
Even though Birdies and Beer, it's a top chart.
Cool.
You see, it's in the top 100.
Very good.
On Apple Music.
That's great.
You think I'm kidding?
Yeah.
We put it on there.
We'll bring another one. We'll bring it.
You said you got one about baseball.
Yeah, I do. I want to bring it this week at some point.
No, you call it. Don't leave it in your car, though. It's going to be cold outside.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want that beautiful, beautiful guitar to crack.
What we got on the docket this week? Do we have Doc A again coming up?
We do, Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tuesday, and then I think Keith's going to call in at some point today. I told him to surprise me, so that way I don't know when he is going to call. But he
what's he going to rant about today?
I don't know. He convinced me to do a big DraftKings one after I had won against 3 or 4 other people. So it's kind of like free money, but it wasn't good because of how bad the Cowboys did.
Oh, I got you.
But it's okay. Getting back to Grayson Murray, addiction wrecked his golf career, and now he won on the PGA Tour yesterday. And like I said, he knew today was going to change his. He knew today was not going to change my life, Murray said. My fiance changed my life. Jesus Christ changed my life. Today wasn't going to change my life, but it did change my career a little bit, and I'm excited. As unlikely as the circumstances were surrounding how Murray snatched the tournament from as many as 4 other players who were at one point tied for the lead, Sunday, his simple being in Hawaii for the event was even more improbable. Murray entered the 2023 PGA Tour, entered 2023 with his PGA Tour status in question. He took a hiatus from the game in 2021 as he entered a treatment facility for his help with alcohol dependence. He then had a start and stop year in 2022 before he returned to form in 2023. He won twice on the Korn Ferry Tour to secure his status in 2024 and also notched 2 top 10s on the PGA Tour. And now he's won the Sony Open there, Jay, and we mentioned what he gets for that. He's going to get the Masters, he's going to get the PGA, and the 7 signature events.
That is great. Man.
Another story of these guys coming back, which is awesome.
So Belgian. So far we've got Belgian, who's kind of very similar story, right?
Very similar story, except not to this, winning caliber.
Right.
Grayson Murray's obviously not as old, but.
And then Chris Kirk.
Yep.
Chris Kirk came out about that time during maybe COVID at some point and said, "Hey, look, I'm fighting this battle." And so that's 3 guys right off the cuff
that we know about.
Yeah. That's great stuff. Really good.
Yep.
Just, I don't know, just kind of opens your mind up, I guess.
Well, and then you got, on the flip side, you got guys like John Daly where it's kind of celebrated, It's kind of weird. Both sides of the coin, right?
Right. Yeah, I never, and
then we got you singing songs, Birdies and Beer.
Oh, well, yeah.
You got a beautiful angelic voice, though. Mix between Fergie and Jesus.
That's what I've heard.
Dale Doback. Dale Doback. A couple other things from the Sony Open, Jay. I want to get your thoughts on this. Being the big golf guy that you are, kind of going to read through this. Golf fans were disgusted with the actions of 2 PGA Tour stars at the Sony Open. Right? We're in this time where golf, and we'll jump in all these football games here, and we'll get going in the next segment. But, you have to leave early today, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know as the show started. You're leading the parade.
It's a holiday.
That's true, but you got to go make some money,
there
right?
There you go.
You got to go make some money, and the show always ends at 1, but sometimes you schedule something a little earlier than that. It's fine. We're just here for you, Jay. We're here for you. Anyway, I want to get your thoughts on this. It has to do with Brian Harman and Keegan Bradley and basically how long it took them to execute some shots, right? Mm-hmm. We'll start with both solid performances from Harman and Bradley. It was the manner in which they both went about that irked a large number of golf fans on social media, right? We live in this world where everybody can instantly give their thoughts. There was a lot of thoughts coming out on social media last night after that Cowboys-Packers game. Let's start with Harman. And the time it took the reigning Open champion to play a delicate flop shot. You know who doesn't take a long time to hit a flop shot?
Brian Harman.
D. Hayes.
Oh, D. Hayes.
D. Hayes flops all around the golf course, and it doesn't take a long time. Steps up, opens the face, opens the stance, right underneath it.
Boom, just hit it high, let it fly, and go find it.
That's it. Yeah. Flop shot Dave. That's what we're going to call him from now on. All right, so anyway, reigning Open champion to play a delicate flop shot in the final round. As we join, there's a video on this article. You can see Harman standing at the top of the hill contemplating how best to play the shot in hand. He then trudges back to his ball and takes 12 practice swings. Harman then places the club head behind the ball and has another 12 waggles. He looks up at the flag, looks back down at the ball multiple times too. Quite frankly, it makes it excruciatingly painful viewing. The video alone is over a minute he's standing over this ball.
And this is Brian Harman.
Brian Harman hitting a flop shot.
At the Sony Open.
At the Sony Open. Add the time taken by Harman even before we saw him standing at the top of the hill, and one could argue it took him close to 2 minutes to hit the shot. All right, then on to Keegan Bradley, who as we all know, loves a little bit of aim point. You're familiar with aim point, right?
Yeah, I was just watching that. Yeah.
It doesn't work, does it? That's another topic for another day. But come on, it's aim point, slowing down the game in the process while trudging around. Your girl, Paige Sporanic, had mentioned something, ripping Keegan on Twitter there. She stole your podcast name, but that's okay. Golf fans.
Just the tip.
Yep, just the tip with Jay Henley.
Yep,
she's got that too. Anyway, Keegan, did you see this one? So you saw what happened.
No.
So basically, he was using aim point on a 2-foot putt, and it took him forever. And golf fans are just, they're trying to watch. There's not a lot of action anyway, but then when you got this kind of stuff going on. So that gets me to this question, Jay. Do you think that these tours really need to start putting some of these players on the clock?
Got to. I mean, these guys, at this point, it is second nature to these guys. They do it 6 days a week, sometimes 7. It is second nature, and they have to just stand up and just be intuitive, and that's the word I use, intuitive. And they do it each and every week, and they just got to speed this up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Well, no, the reason why I think they need to do something is because it bleeds all the way down into these junior tournaments, right? And these junior tournaments, they do a pretty good job with, having to check in at certain times, and they don't even care. If you're not there when you need to be, you'll get penalized.
Right.
And, these guys are good. It shouldn't take you that long to figure it out,
right?
It
shouldn't.
And you want golf to be and there's people that, I don't like to watch golf, it's boring. This is certainly not helping with that engagement.
That's right. That's right.
So enforce the shot clock.
Yeah, you got to.
Do you know how long you're supposed to have?
I'm going to say 24 seconds, but
40 seconds. 40 seconds. Yep.
So that has been brought to everybody's attention. There's just not a shot clock.
They're just not enforcing
They're
it.
not enforcing it.
Yeah. It's almost like the rules officials are just terrified to do something, then make an example, because it just never happens.
Right.
So once it starts happening, then the official's going to get, ridiculed and that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know.
But they seem to, in tournaments that I've played in, they want to penalize the whole group, and I don't understand why they can't just go, hey, look, you're the issue, and you figure it out. But they want to penalize the whole group, and that doesn't make sense to me at all either.
Well, what they do is they say, hey, your group's falling behind, you need to pick it up, and it's indirectly speaking to someone, right? And that's a tough one because usually it's one person in a group. Threesomes, twosomes, a little different story because they'll play a little bit faster. But yeah, I don't know. Did you see Rory miss a 3 putt from 2 feet?
No,
in the Dubai. It didn't technically cost him the tournament. I forget which hole it was on. Okay, it was the par 3 13th hole. McIlroy looked poised to make his 4th consecutive birdie after hitting his tee shot to about 2 feet. Guess what happens after that, Jay?
He 3 putts.
He 3 putts from 2 feet. That just shows you that even the best players in the world can deal with the same stuff that we deal with on a daily basis. Well, daily basis. But
he didn't use the aim point that Keegan did from 2 feet.
Yep.
That was his issue.
That was it. It took him another 5 minutes to get it done. But when that happened, Tommy Fleetwood then took the solo lead. But that's not where it ends. He bounced back to make a much longer birdie. 15-foot birdie putt on number 50, or he was on 14, so 15, and then added another birdie on 17 to take a one-shot lead over playing partner Tommy Fleetwood. But on the par 5 18, water all down the left, what did Rory do, Jay?
The old hookaroo.
He hit it in the water there at the 72nd hole. Ended up going on to make a bogey. Tommy Fleetwood birdied the 18th hole to win over there in Dubai.
Yikes. That's the DP Tour.
The DP World Tour, yep, the Dubai. The race to Dubai, all that good stuff. There's another interesting golf topic I want to get into when we get back from the break before we start jumping into some of these football games. But the Dolphins now own the NFL's longest playoff winning drought. Now that the Lions won their first game in 32 years, I think it was. That's wild.
Whoa.
Wild. But you are listening to The Inside Drive. When we get back, I want to talk about one more thing on golf, Jay, and then we'll let you know what happened in these playoff games. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
Set your alarm clock to wake up with the Coach Hales Show on ESPN Northwest Florida. In-depth local and college sports from expert insiders and a dash of controversy.
Can be deadly.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9.
Nothing says good morning like a drunken human alarm clock.
We're live from the J. Michaels studio.
We all know he loves the Florida Gators, but that's okay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I can control the world.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Monday. Partly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind out of the south-southeast at 6 miles per hour and the high of 64. Tonight, look for a mixture of light sprinkles and mostly clouds with a temperature near 49. Tomorrow, a high around 55 and a low chance of rain in the morning and then some clouds. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Me and my I Do crew have 50 years experience, and we have more certified diamonds in stock at the best prices in town. So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, come see me, your diamond girl, and my I Do crew at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, because we don't work on commissions. We work for smiles and I Do's.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot.
Goddamn.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. You think I'd be taking more excitement about the Cowboys' loss yesterday, but we have to play Green Bay on Saturday night, so I'm not really going to say a whole lot until that game potentially ends, so we shall see. But we'll dive more into that, Jay, and get your thoughts as we catch you up on, is McCarthy still going to be there? Is Dak still going to be there? Is Belichick going to the Cowboys? There's just so much stuff circulating around out there right now. But an interesting golf thing with that Dubai championship that you may not have heard of, Jay. So 72, right? That's the par at a lot of courses. Usually 72 is a good thing associated with golf. I don't know if you've heard the name Ken Weiland. Have you heard that name? Mm-mm. There was some stuff going. There were some other professionals playing in this limited field event over there at Dubai. I think it's a 60-player invitation event, something like that. Well, Ken Weiland, you may not know that name, but he's the director of golf at the Grove 23 or XXIII Golf Club, which is Michael Jordan's uber-exclusive private club in Hobie Sound, Florida. This week, he played as a sponsor's invite into the DuPont World Tour's limited field Dubai Invitational. He opened up with a little 87, and things didn't get much better from there. Weiland, who is 54, posted back-to-back rounds of 82 and on Friday and Saturday before closing with an 86 for a 4-day total of 53 over 337. His tally left him, you guessed it, 72 strokes behind winner Tommy Fleetwood, who birdied the 72nd hole. As we mentioned, Rory hit it in the water on that. In a 60-player no-cut event, I hope I'm saying his name right. I'm going to go with Wayland, like Jennings, made just birdies and was 39 shots behind Sweden's Jen Dantrup, who finished 59th. So he's 39 shots behind the next highest score on there. Wow. What do you think?
So this is Michael Jordan's club pro guy,
It's the director of golf at Michael Jordan's golf club, the Grove 23.
Yikes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why did he get an invite from number one?
I don't know. He got a sponsor's invite to play in the event.
Dang. Yeah, that's bizarre.
So it brings me to a question. Should he have been able to play in this event? Because it took a spot from somebody else.
True, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to even.
It feels like me when I sign up for a section championship event when I haven't played competitive golf in 2 years, and then I go shoot terrible scores, because that's kind of how it works.
That's the way it works.
But that also goes to show you. I mean, this club pro guy probably shoots. He's probably a +5 or 6 handicap at his own club, and plays really good. But just shows how good these guys are on these different tours. Yeah. When you get a really, really good club pro going out there and playing and shooting a 53 over 337.
Yeah.
Little different than Michael Block.
True. Very true.
A little different than Michael Block. But Michael Block didn't get a sponsor's exemption to play in an event. Michael Block qualified to play in the PGA Championship by finishing in the top 20 of the Club Professionals National Championship.
I just want to go down and check out Jordan's golf course. I bet you that thing's amazing.
I think you're allowed to wear cargo shorts there.
Really?
Because he got kicked out of that one club for wearing cargo shorts. So then he built his own.
That's typically what happens.
Pretty fancy on that.
Yeah.
Pretty fancy on that one. I think that's pretty much all the golf stories I wanted to get to there for you, Jay.
Where are we? I wonder where we're going this week. Are they back in California?
Isn't this about? I'll look it up. But isn't this about when they start playing the old Bob Hope? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's it called now?
It's gosh, I can't remember the name of it. But
now it's the American Express, which is played in La Quinta. It plays on the multiple courses. Yeah, the American Express coming up. And then you've got the Farmers Insurance Open the week after next over there at Torrey Pines, which the Farmers Insurance is dropping their sponsorship on that in 2025. And then after that, it's the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And then soon they'll be coming to Florida.
They will.
Soon they will be coming to Florida. All right, which game you want to start with?
I'm really curious about this Cowboys game, and I want to know y'all's opinion on the Cowboys-Packers, because I don't even think the Cowboys had a chance from Q1 last night, from what I hear.
Well, basically, it was pretty bold by the Packers. They won the toss. What do most people do when they win the toss?
They defer.
They defer their option to the second half.
Yeah.
The Packers said, give us the ball. They drove 10 plays, 75 yards, and scored a touchdown. Next drive, I think it was the next drive, Dak threw a pick. Packers got it again, and then they scored another touchdown to go up 14-0. I think the Packers had a plan. Look, we're going to try to attack. And if you watched the game last night, which I know you did, you might have saw some clips. But the Packers did a really good job offensively of, having a lot of motions and a lot of different things, but a lot of chipping. And they really focused on Parsons, and they really blocked different ways, and they'd go back the opposite way, and it freed up a lot of stuff deep down the field. But your boy's on the line. Bring him in.
Who we got on the phone?
Your boy.
Who?
Keith Fleming.
Oh, Keith.
No.
Hey. How you doing, Keith?
How many boys you got, Jay?
Not many.
Just
Not
one.
many.
That he knows of.
That's
Parker.
it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. How was your weekend, sir?
It was good. Unfortunately, all great things must come to an end, and my streak of being on fire in DFS kind of ended, and what was most frustrating was right, just picked the wrong players. I was all in on Kupp, should have been all in on Puka. Same deal for the Green Bay receiver. Of course, Romeo Doubs was literally the only guy I did not have in lineups.
And who would have thought?
I had Wicks, I had Reed, I had Watson, no Dobbs, but honestly, a shocking 2 days of playoff action. I still cannot believe this Cowboys team just choked away another playoff performance. And I've joked for quite some time with Cowboys fans that you guys wish you were the Falcons since 1996, and I continue to be kind of warranted in my assessment of that, because everything went their way at the end of the season. They get the 2 seed. All they got to do is win 2 home games, where they were incredible this year, and they're in an NFC title game. And this Green Bay team that had 16 players born in the year 2000 or later come in and not just defeat them, but just dominate them. And, I don't want to, obviously the Packers deserve a lot of credit, but it is shocking that Dallas was so bad on defense. And also, I don't know what to say about Dak anymore. I try to defend him because I think he's better than what a lot of people, want to say about him. But, you got to show up, and he did not. And he looked like he was locked in on CeeDee Lamb. If you notice, Michael Gallup was open all the time, and right,
especially on that one pick six that he threw there in the first half when there was three bunch left. They were all running little option routes, and Gallup was wide open on the inside, and he tried to force it to Lamb. And there's a lot to unpack in this game for sure. But continue before I jump in.
No, this is where it's coaching, and Allen talks about it all the time, and he's kind of beat into my head that we kind of put these coaches on a pedestal, and in reality, I don't know. The Packers' third corner, who was on Michael Gallup for a majority of the game, has been on the practice squad most of the year. If you have a guy on the field that is that much of a liability, maybe you should attack him until the Packers have to adjust, and they didn't do that. And just remarkable stuff. I do want to say, though, that it's amazing that the Jordan Love trade, was something not the trade, but when they picked him and, Rodgers was upset, there was many sports personalities saying, how can you not, get something to help Aaron Rodgers? The Packers continue to be one of the best ran organizations in football. They made the right decision. They got 2 more good years out of Rodgers, and now they have their QB of the future. And I got to admit that Jordan Love looked a lot like Aaron Rodgers yesterday. The way he was moving around, throwing the ball sidearm, making these really difficult throws. The Packers, you're a Niners fan, how scared are you of this Packers team coming into San Francisco next week?
Well, given that LaFleur is part of the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, I think we'll be much more prepared for this game than Dan Quinn was. Also, my thought on the Cowboys can't get punched in the mouth first. If they get punched in the mouth first, the same thing happened in the Niners game. The Niners came out, they punched them, and they couldn't come back. And then when you get ahead on the Cowboys, that's not their game. Their game is to run the football, get ahead, let their defense choke out the other team. And when that doesn't happen,
pass rush,
it's
right?
like they don't know how to adjust. And Green Bay had a game plan. Kudos to Matt LaFleur. He said, we're going to take the ball, we're going to go score touchdowns, and Dallas is going to have to play from behind. Now, the Niners don't play well from behind either, but I think the Niners will be much more prepared for this game. Dak obviously didn't have a great game, but I put this 100% on Dan Quinn and the Cowboys defense. You know, you can't let a team do that to you. And like I was saying before you came on, a lot of pre-snap motions, a lot of motion towards the Micah Parsons side, and they were all pushing and pulling in that direction, and then things would open up. And I don't know what the safeties were doing for Dallas. They were leaving guys wide open.
Yeah, playing so far off, it didn't make a lot of sense. Especially when they were getting gashed in the run early. And, I mean, if you have a safety 20 yards back and Aaron Jones is averaging like 9 yards a carry, that's not a good recipe to stop the run. I just really shocked. I did want to ask you guys, I'm sorry I haven't been listening, do you feel like the Rams got a little hosed last night?
I feel like the penalty flags got put away, because there was even that offsides call before the end of the first half that it just seemed like there was a ton of late hits in all these games. That Puka Nacua fourth down play where he was held pass interference and then late hit too was a little dicey, but I thought they were fairly consistent all game, but just not a lot of penalties being called in any of these games really. I mean, Jordan Love got late hit like 6 times.
That's fair. It does feel like that in that Rams-Lions game, there was 8 huge no calls, and it seems like 6, 7 of them went, to the Lions' direction, right? Like the Stafford late hit, they call that all the time, and really surprised that they did. And I want to give Lions credit, though, because they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL in the red zone. The Rams have been one of the best teams
it was flipped.
in the NFL in the red zone, and that was the difference. Like the Lions were able to, hold them when they got close. And, I hate that what happened to the Browns because, we had been joking about a Lions-Browns Super Bowl. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But if you're Detroit, you're kind of now in that Dallas role of why, I had them second in my rankings because you win against a very flawed either Tampa or Philadelphia team at home, and you're going to be the team that is one win away from, an NFC title. And I was shocked they played LaPorta. I still think that may have been a mistake. Obviously, it worked in hindsight. I worry so much when it could potentially lead to a, much more serious injury. But Detroit is kind of a team built for these playoffs, especially if Jared Goff is going to play the way that he did last night. And I don't think enough is being made of that Goff, kind of exercised the demons, if you will, by kind of sticking it to the team that just said you're not good enough. You're the reason that we did not win that Super Bowl a few years ago. And, I mean, you look at it, St. Brown is such a weapon, obviously with LaPorta playing. And what I really like about Detroit is I know they didn't run the ball with a ton of success, but they are a team that if they can get that run game going, I think they can hang with anybody. The biggest issue, obviously, being if they play San Francisco's Goff is just such a different QB outdoors compared to indoors. And I think that that's a huge advantage for the San Francisco 49ers if that ends up being the NFC title game. I do wonder, though, did Philadelphia luck their way into the best matchup? Because, we talked about obviously how huge it was for the Cowboys to get the number 2 seed, but I think everybody would agree the Packers were a much more difficult opponent, even being at home, than playing this Tampa team on the road. And it's just funny that if Philadelphia wins this, they're going to be going to Detroit, and when we left them all for dead, they're also one game away from an NFC title rematch versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, it's certainly, I would say, the hindsight's always good, but yeah, the draw is certainly looking good for the Eagles if they can take care of business against the Bucks tonight. But yeah, getting back to the Rams and Lions game, the Rams weren't able to get a lot of pressure on Jared Goff, and that was the big difference. Their offensive line held up well, whereas Stafford, was on his back most of the night for the Rams, and the Lions seemed to get and. Shoot, they were one drive from winning that game, too, which is what's crazy. Only 9 total points scored in that second half after you had, 17 and 21, after you had 34 points-ish scored in that first half. So defenses made some adjustments, but fun game to watch, that's for sure. Getting back to the Cowboys-Packers game, too, as well, while we got you on the line. The Packers defense, just shocking how well they played. But again, I think it gets back to the Cowboys just don't play well from behind. When they get punched in the mouth, they don't know how to make. I'm just surprised that McCarthy and them didn't make any adjustments at halftime. You almost felt like the Cowboys they scored right before the end of the half to make it within, 20 points at that point. And then they go down and drive to start the second half, but then they have to settle for a field goal. The Packers defense the final score is not as indicative of how lopsided the game was for sure. But the run game, you were mentioning Aaron Jones getting the run game going. I think that's what kind of really messed up their safeties too and opened up some of these wide open passes, which was bizarre, as the safeties had to come down and try to help a little bit with that run game. And the play action, the play designs by the Packers yesterday were fantastic. Like I said, a lot of pre-snap motions, a lot of chips on Micah Parsons, and it opened up some stuff down the field for the Packers. And kudos to Jordan Love. The amount of throws he made off his back foot, just dropping him in buckets, was that third touchdown they scored to go up 20. Well, I know they missed the extra point. Dallas brought the house on that play, and Jordan Love's backing up, and then just drops a dime right in there off his back foot. Kid's got a great arm. That was the play, I think, that kind of really shocked the Cowboys. And I know they went up 20-0 at that point, but heck, that doesn't happen. They kicked the field goal, a lot of different things. But kudos, like you said, Jordan Love, youngest team by far out there, and pretty fun to watch, especially
youngest team since 1984 to make the playoffs. And again, it's just crazy to think that they have that many guys born in the year 2000 or later. I think the one thing that we have not discussed enough with the Packers is Aaron Jones missed this entire year as somebody who had him in basically every fantasy season, but he's healthy, and if you look at it, he has now had 4 straight games of 100-plus rushing yards, and if he is able to be Aaron Jones, who we know is one of the more electric running backs in the NFL when he's healthy, with Jordan Love playing the way he is and just those receivers, that makes it a much more difficult out, even for great defenses like the San Francisco 49ers. And I think that was the most shocking thing to the Cowboys was really that was what started the avalanche that was the Packers, is they were running it so easily early in that game that the Cowboys kind of tried to commit to stop the run, and that was when Jordan Love just started torching them in the secondary. One other thing I just want to bring up real quick is Allen was all over this coming into the season. I've taken the L. I'll admit it. I did not think C.J. Stroud was going to be a good NFL quarterback. And, the sky is literally the limit for this kid. That's a really good defense that he just absolutely torched in Cleveland. And that is something I brought up on the show Wednesday when talking about this game, was it was scary to me how everybody was picking the Cleveland Browns. And when you look at it, we know QB is such an important position in the NFL. And on one side, you have this quarterback who is the best young QB to come into the NFL. I think it's maybe arguably the best rookie season in the history of the game from the QB position. And against a 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who Flacco was Flacco. I thought he played okay, but it kind of was a mismatch that nobody wanted to talk about. And just such a big win for the Texans. And, I would be a little scared of that team. I know that's not a great matchup for the Texans versus the Ravens because they have some of the more, difficult design blitzes, it's really tough to tell where their pressure's coming from. But if I'm the Ravens, I'm not looking forward to seeing C.J. Stroud, come in and, he's cooking when, again, the Ravens have basically 2 weeks of rest. It's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, definitely. You want to hang on for a second, Keith? We can talk about these games a little bit more in depth. And you're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
When it comes to leaders, you have different types of leaders. You have the guys who just lead by action. They're not really saying a whole lot. They're just going out there and doing it. And there's other guys who gravitate to that type of work ethic. And then you have your other guys who are vocal leaders. And they can get those inspiring speeches.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Senior Bowl. For 75 years, it's been the proving ground of football's greatest legends. The tradition continues Saturday, February 3rd as the legends return to Mobile. Join us at Hancock Whitney Stadium, where the first 5,000 entrants will receive limited edition bobbleheads of the 75th team legends. Dan Marino, DeMarcus Ware, Aaron Donald, Sean Alexander, and Cornelius Bennett. Get your tickets for the 75th Senior Bowl at seniorbowl.com. The draft starts in Mobile.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
In the jewelry business, there is no substitute for experience. David Adamson has over 46 years of experience, 32 of those in Lynn Haven. Designing and creating fine jewelry is more than a job for David, it's a joy. If you're looking for a spectacular jewelry design that says you, or perhaps you need your jewelry repaired, look no further than David Adamson Designer Jewelry. All work is done in-house and always to your complete satisfaction. Stop in today at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Ohio Avenue in Lynn Haven. They're on Facebook and at pcjeweler.com.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Getting back to that Browns-Texans game, Jay, did you know that Joe Flacco and DeMeco Ryans faced you can't hear? Did I turn you down too loud? I probably screwed it up, David, because I've been messing around with this thing. Can you hear? Can you hear? No?
No.
What?
That was weird. Anyways. Okay. Keep going.
I don't know. I knocked the thing off. But anyway, Joe Flacco and DeMeco Ryans faced each other before this game, but both on the field in the 2011 AFC divisional round in the playoffs there. I'm sorry, David. I knocked it off before, and I put it back up. Something might have got unplugged. I think it's crooked now. But anyway, that's wild that DeMeco Ryans was the coach and played against Joe Flacco and now just took him down as the coach in the wild card round on Saturday. But yeah, see,
there we go.
You good?
Oh, yeah.
Did the thing come unplugged? This is live tech support on the air. There you go. Yeah, that's a good-looking hoodie and hat he's got on, too, by the way. Shout out to Mark McKinney for hooking Team Dynasty up with some sweet hoodies there,
yes,
Jay Henley. But, yes, getting back to this game, I think it's the first rookie head coach and rookie to win a playoff game in quite some time as well. But, yeah, the Browns had the number one defense in the league, and they gave up 45 points to the Texans. On the flip side, we all kind of saw this coming. We haven't talked about that game yet, but the Chiefs-Dolphins game, Dolphins had the number one scoring offense in the league and scored 7 points against the Chiefs. But getting back to C.J. Stroud, he can make all the and what's crazy, Jay, I know you didn't watch the game, so we're letting you know, is Dalton Schultz dropped a wide open 15, 20-yard pass earlier in the first half.
Nico Collins on like a 70-yard bomb as well. He overthrew him by like 2 steps.
Overthrew Nico Collins. I mean, and he so effortlessly just launches the ball. The play action, it's almost like every time they run a play action and you see him cock back to throw a deep ball, you know it's going to be something good. And it's just wild watching him be so successful.
The only other Nico I'm thinking of is Keith, your dog. I mean, he looks so just cozy on that Heaton pad and just watching. Did he watch football with you? Nico watched football with you all weekend?
He watched it all day. He's not happy because it is Lola's first birthday today, and so we've been giving her a lot of attention, and Nico is not cool with that. He's like, I'm the alpha dog.
Yeah.
What is up? Why is this dog still in our house, and why are we celebrating her?
Yeah. To be Nico, to be a dog in Keith's house, you get your own heating blanket.
Can you and Brittany, can y'all adopt me, and then I can be maybe y'all's pet?
Yeah, we got an extra bedroom. Come on up, buddy.
Okay.
We would love to have you.
Did y'all get any snow up there?
No, it has been so cold though. Like I hate cold weather, and for Georgia, it normally doesn't get this cold until like February, but we've basically had 3 straight days where the high's been like 43, 44 degrees with wind, which I know people that if you've lived in the north or whatever, you're going, come on, y'all really complaining about 40-degree weather, but that's why we live in the South, right? Like, so we don't have to deal with this. And I'm upset because it's a 3-day weekend and I got to play 0 golf. So a little cranky.
At least you had a weekend with lots of two playoff football games a day because of the rescheduling. But yeah, I think getting back to what you were talking about before the end of the last segment and the potential draw for the Ravens and the Texans, the only thing is they're going to have to go to Baltimore. Who knows what that weather is going to look like? But I mean, C.J. Stroud played at Ohio State. That's outdoors. It's in the north. It's cold. All that good stuff. But that defense, I thought is what was really flying around. We kind of knew Flacco throws a lot of picks. They've just been able to overcome it with their defense. But this time, each time he threw an interception, the Texans made him pay. So what was more...
my buddy, Joe, does the show with me on Thursday on Fantasy Six-Pack and Friday on Fantasy and Frames. I call him Joe the Brain Mats for a reason. He was all over the Texans defense being the defense you should play this week. And it ended up being very fruitful because they were relatively cheap. They were $3,000. Everybody, including myself, was on Kansas City. It was $100 cheaper. But Joe just brought up the point that as good as Flacco's been, at least 1 interception in every game this season, and that he felt like that was pretty much a given, that he was going to have a pick or two. And he even said on our show Friday that it would not surprise him at all if the Texans had a defensive touchdown, which, by the way, that is the 3rd straight game that the Houston Texans defense has scored a defensive touchdown. So a great call by him, and it just shows that, I think these defensive-minded coaches make such a huge difference, especially when you get into the playoffs, and there's so much known about all these offenses. There's so much tape and film, and I thought D'Amico Ryans really had a great game plan to stop a Cleveland Browns offense, which, if we're being honest, was one of the best in football, the last 5 weeks once Flacco took over. So huge kudos to him. And then obviously C.J. Stroud is just that dude. There's just no other words to say. He is the next big thing in football. And if I'm the Houston Texans, knowing I got Tank Dell coming back next year, wow, this offense, look out.
And you get to play in the AFC South, too.
It's not a bad deal either, right?
Not a bad deal either. But, yeah, I'm a big D'Amico Ryans fan. Obviously, he was the defensive coordinator with the Niners, so loved his energy, loved what he brought to the table. And there's a little clip that showed when the Niners played the Cardinals last season. It was J.J. Watt's last game. J.J. Watt went to D'Amico after the game and said, hey, go make Houston great again. So J.J. Well, because J.J. played with D'Amico. So you know that it's just a good time to be in Houston right now, regardless of what happens in this next game. More surprising, Browns or the Texans killing the Browns or the Packers killing the Cowboys?
Packers killing the Cowboys, for sure. Because, that was on the road. We talked in depth about how the Cowboys at home have been such a juggernaut, averaging almost 40 points a game their last 6 home games compared to 24 on the road. And not just the offense, the defense also have been much better at home than on the road. But, I mean, it's like I said, the Cowboys are basically the Falcons now. It's like, Murphy's Law, whatever can happen will. And I just, even saying that, I was legit shocked as that was just a beatdown. I mean, that game was really over, 10 minutes into it, which I don't think anybody, even the biggest Packers fan, would have predicted.
But don't you think, you're going to go all the way through this offseason and they're going to try to dissect, the Cowboys and the Falcons will dissect what's going on with the organization, what kind of changes do we need to make, and none of these changes will be pointed towards Jerry Jones or Arthur Blank. You know what I'm saying? It's like at some point, do you have
You're
to
the owner.
Well,
Arthur is not, though, is involved in the decision day-to-day of, the actual team. I think that is definitely a fair point for the Cowboys, who it's like, look, you ran off a coach who won 2 Super Bowls and, completely revitalized your, franchise, basically because Jerry was jealous of, Jimmy Johnson rightfully getting a majority of the credit for what the Cowboys were. And that's why, I've heard rumors. I don't think Mike McCarthy survives this. I don't know how he can. And some people are saying, Bill Belichick to the Cowboys. I don't see that happening. I don't know why Bill would want to go somewhere and deal with, Jerry Jones. Arthur Blank, there, definitely needs to be said that he's made some really bad decisions when it comes to head coaches. I look back to the fact that we, went to a Super Bowl. It was Ryan's coach, Shanahan, who was most responsible for that. And I said it the day it happened. We should have fired Dan Quinn the day after the Super Bowl if we could have convinced Shanahan to stay, because that was the reason that we were in the position we were. And I even look back to Mike Smith, who was this great coach who really made the Falcons a legit contender. And then we didn't do very good, in the GM front office, had 2 bad seasons, and they immediately got rid of them. And yes, we had that one run, obviously, to the Super Bowl in 2016. But other than that, it's basically been a mess since they let him go.
Well, and this Cowboys team, the crazy, they've had 12 wins the last 3 seasons. What happens when they go from, and I know they had a playoff win last year before they got to the divisional round against the Niners, but what happens is it because there's just so much talk and pressure around it? You've got an MVP caliber quarterback. You've got more talent on the offensive side and defensive side on the ball than the majority of the teams in the league. You have a proven successful head coach, defensive coordinator. Now that's a little bit a different story, but you said yes. Is it because people know, okay, when the Cowboys get to the playoffs in recent years, they're not going to be successful?
I just mean that I think that's something in sports in general people do not discuss enough. It's just, think about if you're playing golf, right? And I mean, even if it's just a small bet or whatever, when you have a 4-footer, you're going to make it most times. When you have a 4-footer for $50, a little pressure, right? Yep. And I think that happens even in the NFL and stuff. And I've been in Falcon Stadium where you can feel in the crowd the anxiousness, right, or the nervousness that, oh, my God, we're going to blow this. And I really, truly believe it's the same thing with the Cowboys right now, that they've had such a long history of, these playoff blunders and just not being able to get it done, that it becomes a culture thing. I think back to the Cubs and Red Sox, who eventually won World Series after, forever not being able to get over the hump. If you look in both of those situations, particularly with the Red Sox, it took a very unique group of guys, right, who were just, I think of Johnny Damon and Ortiz and those guys that were
Manny.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Manny, F what has happened. This is about us. And I do think it plays a huge role And it's just crazy how this stuff seems to go in cycles, because Dak is basically Tony Romo at this point, right? Like this unbelievably talented quarterback who puts up great numbers. Just like when Romo was there, they win 10 to 12 games almost every single year, and then they get to the playoffs and they get upset. I mean, it's crazy, the similarities in those two quarterbacks and these two Cowboys teams, almost a decade apart.
Hey, they got a flow chart for it that is extremely accurate. It's wild. Hey, Keith, we got our top of the hour break. Thanks for giving us a call. And we look forward to talking to you on Wednesday, getting ready for the divisional round weekend. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive. Stay warm. We'll be right back.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, anyplace, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN Northwest Florida app streams your favorite sports talk hosts and the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity.
This is of utmost importance in travel.
Take the sports talk monster with you anywhere you go. Available for Android and iPhone.
Use it anywhere or any place. Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Monday. Partly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind out of the south-southeast at 6 miles per hour and the high of 64. Tonight, look for a mixture of light sprinkles and mostly clouds with a temperature near 49. Tomorrow, a high around 55 and a low chance of rain in the morning and then some clouds. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
You're home to the NFL. WGSX Lynn Haven. WVLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive across from the Navy base.
The locals love it.
You're going to love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Cover your pipes, cover your wells, cover any type of thing that has water in it that's exposed. If you've got a pool, make sure your motor's running the whole time if you haven't winterized it, but we don't normally do that here in the state of Florida. That's something you do up there in the Northeast when you winterize your pools there, Jay.
Isn't it a lot of P's like pipes, pets?
Pipes, pets, people?
People. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Keep
plants. Oh, pipes,
yeah.
pets, plants.
There you
Triple
go.
P.
Yep.
There you go. Bring in your plants. Make sure you bring your plants, Jay.
Yes, sir.
They're not, at least the ones that aren't hardy to handle freezing temperatures, which most in the state of Florida aren't. We had that hard freeze in December of 2022 that led to a lot of palms kicking the bucket. They're very hardy, but we don't have sustained days under freezing down here very often.
Right.
We're not going to be sustained under freezing during this little cold snap, but it's going to get into the mid and low 20s at certain periods of the day, that's for sure. Jay, let me ask you. Dallas Cowboys, right? Mike McCarthy, I think, has been there since 2016, if I'm not mistaken, after the Packers won the Super Bowl, somewhere around there. Anyway, when Aaron finally got a Super Bowl, where do you look to? Jerry Jones is obviously the common denominator in all this. He's the owner. He's not going anywhere. But this playoff choking seems to be a theme, and McCarthy's been there for a lot of them. We were talking about the last segment. There's a ton of talent on that team. There's ton of ability. They play great. Just when they get to the playoffs, things seem to change a little bit. How do you change that? Can you continue on with the regime that everybody's like, oh, McCarthy's got to be fired? Well, what's going to change if you bring another coach in?
Yeah.
Your team's scoring more points. They hadn't lost a game at home. Their defense has been fantastic, except when they go down early. But what do you think? Looking at this from the outside, where do you make the change, or do you even make a change?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be some sort of team atmosphere, team environment going on. And there's a switch that's flipped whenever you get into the spotlight of the playoff race or whatever. So I don't know. And I mean, we're still dealing with young kids, believe it or not, in the NFL, like Dak Prescott. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but
he's probably close to 30, if I had to guess.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I thought he was like 24, but 25.
He's been in the league for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
spring break 2015, I believe, is when that went down here at Club La Vila.
Oh, what happened?
He got jumped during spring break. It was either 14 or 15. Yeah, David was there.
Oh,
David was not jumping, but David was close by when that all went down. Just want to set the record straight there.
Yeah, I was a few car lengths away from him. I had no idea it was him until a little bit later that afternoon.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's been in the league, I think, since the year after that.
Yeah.
So it's been quite some time. But, yeah, well, what do you do? Because it's obviously not broken in the 12 wins the last 3 seasons. Dak could have been an MVP with the season he had. But at the end of the day, your job is to try to, when you have that kind of talent and that kind of roster, is to win a Super Bowl. How do you fix it?
Well, you got to determine, I think, where's your weakness, number one. I don't know. I mean, Dallas defense has held their bargain.
Dallas defense is one of the best in the league all year.
Right. So we eliminate the defense. Special teams. Did Dallas have some special teams go faulty this season? I don't know. You got to look at Dak Prescott. I mean, I think, is he the common denominator in not making it through to the Super Bowl? I don't know.
I think somebody said it earlier, and I think it goes back to coaching. Right? Dallas got punched in the mouth in this game. They got punched in the mouth against the Eagles. They got punched in the mouth against the Cardinals. There's a couple other games they lost where they got punched in the mouth early and didn't score. Now, the games that they dominated, they got out ahead in the first quarter. I think this was the first quarter at home in their home winning streak that they did not score a point. They hadn't lost a game at home since, I think, the first regular season game of 2022.
Right.
Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw that somewhere. But it's got to be coaching, right? It's got to be coaching and culture, and that comes from the top. And I think things keep pointing up to Jerry Jones, but nothing's going to change with Jerry Jones.
Right.
You can't do anything about that. So if I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be frustrated from that aspect, because it seems like, take your finger off it a little bit, take so much of the pressure off these coaches, and you got to put it to coaching, because when you can't make the adjustments, and a team like Green Bay comes out and just shoves the ball down your throat, and then you can't come back and win the game and slow them down from the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to Dan Quinn in the Super Bowl championship. He was the head coach. I mean, was it 28-3, 27-3, whatever it was, they came back. They couldn't stop the Patriots.
Right.
They couldn't stop the Packers last night. And I just think it points to coaching. And I don't necessarily know if it's Mike McCarthy. But he's at the top of the totem pole. And a lot of times when you make those changes, the top of the totem pole's got to fall. David, what do you think about the Cowboys situation? How do they overcome? It's such a weird topic because they're a good football team.
Right.
It's just they keep stumbling when it gets to these situations.
Yeah, first I think I need to apologize to Michigan, because I was calling Michigan, the Dallas Cowboys of the college football playoff, and they got past the first round and went even further beyond that, got the national championship. And so with that, I was thinking, man, Dallas will get out of the first round.
I think everybody thought that.
Yeah, they've been playing wonderfully at the house, but I mean, if you listened to me at all last week about talking about any of these playoff games, I wish you just would have put in earbuds, because I was totally wrong on everything.
Well, I think you're pretty big upset.
Yeah, you bring up the totem pole, and I think it goes a little it goes one step higher than Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy's got to go, but I don't know, man. That is tough, and I can only imagine being the fans like, well, hey, at least at least we'll get past the first round, and then we'll more than likely end up taking on San Francisco.
Maybe we'll get back to the NFC Championship for the first time since '95, and we'll build on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then for Dak Prescott, I mean, guess kudos to the Cowboys for fighting all the way until the clock hit 000. So that's nice. But yeah, I really don't think that we're going to see another truly successful, not faux successful, but a truly successful as in hoisting the Super Bowl or at least getting to the Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is there. I mean, if you're ever around Caveman Rick and the Dallas Cowboys are playing, he'll tell you, I'm confident in what the Cowboys won't be able to do until Jerry Jones is no longer with them. We'll see how that plays out, though. I think one thing I'll be interested in is, all right, what happens with Harbaugh? Does he flirt with? He will flirt with the NFL again, but is he going to
interviewing with the Chargers today, if I'm not mistaken?
Right. So it'll be interesting to see what decision he makes, and then Jerry Jones, does he want to maybe bring in a guy like Bill Belichick with the past track record? How would that relationship even work? I mean, I think it would be hard to get a good coach over there, to get a coach that's worth his salt, because the dynamic between owner and head coach is, is Jerry's road or the highway.
Yeah, and that you're perfect. I think you're spot on. Jerry Jones is the issue with the Dallas Cowboys' success. It much as he does. I mean, they've swapped coaches. What did Key say about Tony Romo? Same situation. Coaches coming in, coming out. That hasn't changed anything, but that's not going to change anytime soon. So how do you overcome that? But I don't think a Belichick or somebody like that works with the Jerry. Yeah. You almost have to get an up-and-comer that's willing to do whatever Jerry says. Yeah, absolutely, and not win Super Bowls and get ousted out of the playoffs.
What are y'all talking about with the Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson? Was there a tiff there at some point?
Oh, yeah.
Did he not? Okay.
Well, and Jerry Jones fired Tom Landry too.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is known for he's got the biggest ego probably in professional sports.
Yeah,
that's why he's so involved. And like Keith kind of said, the success got put on Jimmy for what he was able to do when they won those Super Bowls.
Jerry didn't like that.
And Jerry didn't like that.
Yeah.
So how do you get rid of a coach that I think they won 3 Super Bowls in a 5-year span, something like that? I always raise my voice pitch when I'm asking a question at the end of it. But yeah, and then they move on from him, and they haven't made it to the NFC Championship since 1995.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they just woke up, like, back to that game last night. It sounds like, I mean, within 2 minutes they were down 14-0. They shoved 2 touchdowns right down their throat. And when you get down 2 touchdowns in the NFL, it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, 100%. 2 in a 5-year span early there in the 90s. Yeah, but still. It's just crazy. I mean, and for a Niners fan, it's tough, right? Because we haven't won a Super Bowl since 1994. However, we've been to the NFC Championship. We've been to the Super Bowl a couple times. But there was a period from like 96 to 2008 that it was not good. So I understand what it feels like. But ownership has always not been the issue with the Niners. They just haven't been able to find a quarterback there.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, just in the feeling and everything.
Culture.
Because you can go 12 years without something and be like, when you go into the season, we'll see what we get out of this.
Yeah.
What do you get out of Cowboys fans every year?
The great.
All right, we're the best team in the world.
It's our year.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
We them boys.
And then you get to 8-0 at the house.
They hadn't lost a home game since the beginning of last season.
Yeah, and that was to Tom Brady at that. So, put a little asterisk with that. It's wild. Here's the other thing, though. So I'm sitting here saying this, and I'm like, yeah, but they got a lot of talent on that team. Like, how do you put the blame for one game, right? Regular season looked beautiful.
Yep.
Right? They number 2 seed in the NFC. How do we put the blame on a general manager that has nothing to do with on the field? Like, how are these guys not getting up? Like, were you just so overconfident going into this game? Was it, we're playing the Green Bay Packers, but it's not Aaron Rodgers? I mean, I don't understand how you get smacked in the mouth like that. Now, they did fight back, but just a
little too late.
Exactly.
Down 48-16 at one point. That's a great thing you just brought up there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get the number 2 seed, and the Lions somehow end up with the number 2 seed. They play the Packers. Cowboys get somebody else. Maybe they're not as. That is a great point. They could have thought they were probably looking ahead. Oh, we got the Packers. We're a 7.5-point favorite. We don't lose at home. We're going to go take care of business. Green Bay wins the toss. They get the ball. They score 7, get an interception, score 7 more. All of a sudden, Dallas is like, wait a second. We weren't supposed to be in this position. We were supposed to be winning this football game. We don't lose at home. And if you don't, but that goes back to culture and coaching and somebody setting the tone or players setting the tones. Maybe Micah Parsons should have spent less time on his podcast and more time rallying the troops. What scares me about Dallas next year is they have a really long list of free agents that are unrestricted going into next year, and most of those on the defensive side of the ball. Tony Pollard will be a free agent next year. You got 2 tackles, but Stephon Gilmore, Chuma, I forget how to say his name. He's on the offensive line. Darren Armstrong, their center's a free agent. Their cornerback, Noah, it's such a fun name to say.
Igbinahay.
Yeah.
That was way off.
It was pretty close, though. Not Javon Curse, Jaron Curse. Their safety is a free agent. They got a lot of free agents, a lot of that talent that will be potentially open for next year. But, yeah, I think you nailed something there, David, with the fact that they were playing the Packers.
Speaking of nailing something, Caveman Rick nailing shade to us over here. He says the Dallas Cowboys are like the Atlanta Braves. Great regular season, choking the playoffs, except for Caveman Rick. Tell me when that last Philadelphia Phillies World Series was compared to them Atlanta Bravos. So throw that shade, my friend, and I will chill underneath it for a little while. So,
I like that.
but last year was the epitome of that.
Yeah,
and it was one of those feelings going into the playoffs where I felt like 90% of the regular season, I'm like, man, the Braves have a chance to do something special in these playoffs. And then it just kind of felt like the lack of games that mattered.
Yeah.
It was I was hoping that it wasn't, but it did. It reared its ugly head and
that's a great parallel between the two. And, yeah, I know the Braves won a couple years ago.
That's the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yankees are your parallel to the Cowboys.
Yeah, they just it's almost like it's a feeling that if we're feeling that, then the players have to be feeling it, right?
Yeah.
We're not even involved in it in any kind of capacity. And if we can feel that,
well, I'm kind of like a superstition. I mean, it's like the Braves when they've
That's
won
why I'm
that
not
World
talking
Series.
a lot of trash about the Cowboys. I don't like to eat my words. I'd rather talk trash after.
Well, I mean, there's years like with the Braves where the pitchers grew beards, and we've had some.
Look at hockey players.
Through the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be something special to kind of go along with the playoffs, and it didn't happen. I don't think it happened this year with the Braves. I mean, they didn't do any kind of superstition.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that's what pushes you over the top as much as it does for us as the fans and whatnot. But because the team that was riding the heat last year was the Phillies, 2 years in a row, but then also who was a little bit hotter and a little bit younger. The Arizona Diamondbacks, man, riding their way to the World Series. But I don't know how much that, in the NHL, when your playoff beards are looking good, you've been working hard on those things, here's your W.
It's a mental thing, right? It's something to take your focus off the actual game at hand, and we push something to a superstition. I mean, I draw to when Coastal Carolina won the baseball national championship, right? They had the crazy handshakes that they did and sometimes stuff like that, it takes your mind off of potentially screwing something up. And I don't know. It's just wild. I'm still baffled that they lost that way to the Packers.
Well, at the same time those fun things, those team bonding, team building things is great, but also you need those team pick-me-up things.
Yeah.
So you got to have someone on that sideline when you're down 14-3, 17-3, whatever the score may be, that's, hey, all right, play by play by play by play by play. We can't be looking like, we need this many touchdowns. No, we need one touchdown. Then we need to stop. Then we need a 2-point another touchdown with a 2-point conversion.
You can only do what you can do. It's like golf, right? You can't birdie all the holes at once. You got to take it one shot at a time.
But the Cowboys made a 12 on hole 1 last night, and they couldn't come back.
They didn't come out of the gate too well. Yeah, that's for sure. And kudos to Green Bay for winning the toss and taking the ball.
and keeping their foot on the gas.
Yeah, you sent me a text. You're like, I love LaFleur staying aggressive, and it proved to be important.
Well, it did because, all right, they were up, 41-16, and there's a third down play, and it ends up being incomplete, but LaFleur, they called it complete, and LaFleur challenged the play, and I was like, I just don't, like, you're up 41-16, I don't necessarily get it, not from the sportsmanship standpoint, but I'm a guy who's like, is this going to affect the outcome of the game? What if you need that challenge like later on in the game when it's getting a little bit closer? But at the end of the day, you're playing the full allotment of 60 minutes. So I love the aggression there. And then you also look to the Lions-Rams game last night and the way that Dan Campbell down the stretch was like, we're not playing to take it down to all the way zeros. We're playing to beat you, and that's what they did. I think Dan Campbell's aggressiveness is really, it's been huge because it's the opposite of Brandon Staley and how the Chargers were, where it wasn't working out. You were doing it in very weird places on the field. Dan Campbell's makes a little bit more sense, and they get the job done.
Yeah, there's two different ways: play not to lose or play to win. Which one are you taking, Jay Henley?
Play to win all the time,
every time.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yep.
Play to tie.
Play to tie. If you bet the tie, then play to tie, because sometimes that tie will pay some money. That's for sure. We haven't talked about that your boy Mike McDaniel yet.
Oh, is he still frozen?
Probably.
Yeah.
Him and Andy Reid's mustache.
Right. I saw that. Did
you see the video of the smart water that froze?
Was that for real?
Yeah, it was for real.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's people
and all the beer. Like, don't buy a beer. Like, you're just wasting money because it's going to instantly freeze and then bubble over. The carbon dioxide freezes and all that stuff.
Slushies,
pure slushy, gross.
That's inhumane. That's not even right.
I don't think that's.
I mean, just to be in a like. That for ice to freeze, like, or for water.
Inhumane of you to pay to go into that stadium.
I believe it's your choice to go to that game.
Well, that's true. That's true. But to just the temperatures, to be in part of those temperatures.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Dolphins fans were acclimating quite well. Yeah,
shirtless. Skipper. What was the Dolphins' name in Ace Ventura? Snowflake.
Sorry. Yeah.
I watched the first half of that the other day just because it was on. I don't know when, but I was waiting for football. And it's like, all right, I'll watch this. Yeah, so good.
When Keith earlier said exercise the demons, that's immediately what I thought about.
Chicago. 1 or 2? What's your favorite?
1.
1?
Yeah.
The OG?
Yeah, the original. But When Nature Calls is the second one, right? Yep. When he comes out of that elephant, man, that's fantastic.
It was good.
It was a great
They were both good.
Yeah.
Those are 2 that the kids have not watched, and it's probably time.
It's got to be.
It's got to be time.
Yeah.
Right? I always think of movies that they should watch, and then I forget.
Right.
I got to write them down. But Ace Ventura 1 and 2, I just hope that they think it's funny like we do.
I would hope so. If not, the world is not
going downhill.
It's going downhill.
Yeah. we need more stupid comedies to bring everybody together.
That's that
for
right.
Sure. We got you for one more segment.
Sure.
I think we'll just go to 2 then. Let's up the ante a little bit.
I mean, you get out of here at 12:57. I mean, how long does it take to get to Bay Point? What time's your lesson? 1?
1 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. Probably 12:40. I need to leave.
On your scheduling thing, are you allowed to like block off time that people can book?
Yeah.
Strange. I get it. I know you gotta make the cash, man. If you're not teaching, you're not making money.
That's right.
And if people want to get better at their game of golf so you can make some money, what do they need to do?
Golfwithjay.com.
Click on a lesson. Just don't book it between 11 and 1.
Right.
1:15.
Man, I think they still can't. Yeah, I haven't. Do I need to block that, or I don't know?
It's your life. I'm just living in it.
I got you. Yeah,
golfwithjay.com. Get better at golf.
I'm ready, man.
Learn how to make 2-foot putts.
And use aim point.
Aim point. I don't even know what that is. When we get back, we'll talk about our picks and see how we're doing. We still got 2 more games since that Bills-Steelers game got postponed to today. Coming up in a little more than 3 hours. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
First of all, there will be no dinner on the table. There will be no clothes ironed. You will handle that, and you need to shave that gruffiness off your face.
Oh, it's a man's world.
So,
Man's world, baby.
You need to bring dinner, okay?
All right, I will.
Goodbye.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Monday. Some clouds the rest of the day with a light breeze around 6 miles per hour out of the south-southeast, and look for it to be 64. Tonight, there will be a mixture of very light rain and mostly clouds with the temperature reaching 49. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Have a quick stretch first.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
Must have pulled something playing hoops last week.
And Jay Henley.
I know you're not putting that rock up from here. You ain't got no Jay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, we're going to do our pick'em update. We're going to see where we stand on our playoff brackets, and then we'll see still who has a team left for the AFC and NFC championship when we start at the beginning of the season. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go with the bracket.
Okay, the bracket. All right. You and David took the Browns. I took the Texans. We both took the Chiefs and both took the Bills. We don't know what the Bills situation is yet. We all took the Rams and the Cowboys. Let me make sure David took the Rams and the Cowboys as well. Yes, he drew a pink line. A blue line. He's so much better than this. Oh, we got a caller on the line. Travis, how are you?
What's up, guys?
Oh, we're just hanging out here, recapping all these games. So, Jay, know what actually happened this weekend.
How you doing, Travis?
Hey, so I heard y'all talking about movies earlier, briefly.
I briefly mentioned Ace Ventura.
Yeah, well, I have a movie for everybody. Well, not for children. And I know y'all don't have me on Facebook, but if y'all got time to go to the theater and watch The Beekeeper, that was an amazing movie.
What's the synopsis?
Give us a quick cliff notes.
Yeah. So what it's so hard to explain especially when y'all it's one of them movies. If you've ever seen John Wick, it's a lot like it.
Ooh. Does it have anything to do with bees?
So a beekeeper is kind of a metaphor. He keeps bees. Yeah, he's a beekeeper. Yes, but the metaphor is he keeps the bees, as in society is the bees and he protects the beehive.
Let's go like this. One man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after it's revealed he's a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers.
Dum, dum, dum.
That's Wikipedia for you, Travis.
Pretty much what it is there's a bunch of scammers that take millions of dollars from a charity, and he goes off on a killing rant and just kills people in all sorts of ways.
It's kind of what Jason Statham does in all his movies, including the Meg. He takes care of the Megs too.
This is the most brutal movie I've seen where he plays in it. And like I said, if I could compare it to anything, it's John Wick. But honestly, I like it better than John Wick. It has a better story to it to me.
Travis, I noticed on your Facebook that you had said that this is a perfect movie for date night. Your description, I don't know if that reflects that.
I guess it depends on
but
your
I
date,
love it. Yeah,
right?
I love it.
Yeah.
So what makes it a good date night movie?
Well, if you've been married for 6 years like I have, going out to see people get bloodied up and everything is fine. You don't have to go see a romantic movie. So
I love it. I love it.
It's the common society norms, right? Yeah. If you go out with your significant other, it should be a romantic movie or is it a rom-com? That's your genre there?
Yeah, it's Jay's movies.
Yep, rom-coms.
Rom-com.
Do you know what rom-coms?
Well, see, my thing is
romantic comedy.
Good.
Yeah.
Date night is going out to see a good movie, a movie y'all both enjoy.
Fair.
So, we went out there, and honestly, we went out there because they're having some deal that you can watch $5 movies out there on the beach, and it's like $5 popcorns and drinks and all. I'm doing a plug that I probably shouldn't do, but yeah. So we went out there to just watch a movie, just have a date night. It was cheap movie, and it was brand new. And I was like, why don't we just watch this? We both like Jason Statham. And honestly didn't have huge expectations just because we never heard of it. And we went out there and, there was a couple times I was looking at her and she was like cringing on her face like, oh, God. But
who's your Hollywood crush, Travis? Do you have a Hollywood crush?
I do. I did.
Past tense? Come on.
Well, he's married now, so
yeah, she's not as cute anymore. But
ooh.
Jessica Simpson and Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Tony Romo. Jay, what about you?
Man, I still got to go with Jessica Biel, man. I tell you what. Oh, son.
Hey, that's so funny that you brought that up because we were talking about that yesterday, like childhood crushes that we had or whatever. And Jessica Biel, Seventh Heaven, yeah, absolutely.
Katie Holmes,
Dawson's Creek,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Come on,
dude. I had one that
No
was
Hard Feelings.
Go ahead.
Who plays in No Hard Feelings? That new movie.
I'll look it up.
Plays in the Hunger Games too.
Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah. She's all right. She's not bad looking.
Who are we?
Did you sneak any food,
guys?
Did you sneak any food into the?
Yeah, we're on the
theater?
radio. Yeah, brilliant. And you're not supposed to do that, Jay.
I'm asking.
You also sneak beer to the golf course, don't you? You son of a bee sting.
Son of a bee sting. That's perfect for beekeeper.
Thank you for noticing that, David. My puns.
So Ryan and David, who's y'all's celebrity crush? Since Jay started this conversation.
Beth already knows this one, Kate Upton.
Oh,
Justin
yeah.
Verlander.
I didn't even think about her.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that issue of
Sports
Illustrated, yeah.
Yep. We're all growing up together. Okay.
Man, outside of the ones that we mentioned, one that I had back in the day on this show called Nashville Stars was like American Idol for country music. Erica Joe from back in the day. But I mean, like right now, I can't really think of one. I don't think of. I don't know.
Because we're getting older.
Maybe so. Maybe it's just because I'm not watching as much television and movies and stuff, so it's just not on my mind.
How about Aaron Andrews, though? I mean, scale 1 to 10, Aaron Andrews.
I'm not scaling to 1 to 10 on live on the air here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can. Go for it. Go for it.
Go ahead, Jay. You started off. I'll go 8.5.
I think she kind of looks like a horse, but
so much for going scale to 1 to 10.
Yeah,
man, Jay.
I don't know what he was thinking.
She's a pretty horse.
A pretty horse. Well,
A good
I'd
filly.
7.5.
A good filly.
7.5. All right.
Yeah. Thoroughbred. Look what you started, Travis. Look what you started today. We were going to talk about our picks, but
I actually got to change. Well, we're still talking about a pick.
That is true. That is true. It's a good point.
I got to change mine because when David said country music, it reminded me that my wife got mad a few months ago because I am so obsessed with this woman, and that's Lainey Wilson.
There you go.
Lainey Not as much of a Tonka anymore, though, eh?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's starting to get, she's starting to lose all the weight. It's starting to look look more anorexic.
Man. Jay, I blame this on you. 100%.
Please forgive me.
100%. Oh, man. Beth would tell me, you have your celebrities, right, or whoever. She'd always go back to John Stamos.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
Jesse
like
from
My
Uncle
wife
Jesse.
My wife would probably be Channing Tatum.
Magic Mike.
You would know that, Jay.
Yep. It's the moves he can put on the dance floor, I'm sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
They used to say back in the day, in African tribes and all that stuff, the ones that could dance the best were the ones that procreating.
Yes.
Because there was a link between your ability to dance and your ability to procreate.
There's similarities.
And you're a very good dancer.
Well, I think you're right.
I haven't seen it, but I just know. I know. If you play the guitar like you do, we know you dance well.
Rhythm and balance.
That's
Rhythm
it.
and balance.
That's the key to
Don't you
successful.
just love when I call?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that can happen.
Absolutely.
Indeed. The Beekeeper on Travis's top 10 list on number 1 right now, movies to go watch.
Absolutely. I think it's the best movie I've seen in a while.
There you go. Hey, Travis, I'm going to drop you just because we got to go over our picks because Jay has to leave early for something he does to make money. I don't know what it is, teaching golf, something like that.
Right.
But we appreciate you calling and letting us know really quick before we drop, what was the most surprising game so far for you in the NFL playoffs? Just real quick.
It was definitely Green Bay, and everybody needs to check on them boys.
Yeah. The memes going around on social media.
Lots of TVs.
Lots of TVs didn't survive, that's for sure. You okay, Jay?
Yeah, I'm good. All
right.
Yeah.
We'll go over the picks real quick, and then me and David will take care of the last segment for you. Travis, we appreciate you giving us a phone call. Where were we starting with the brackets? You just went right into it. You're like, scale to 1 to 10. Here we go. Who are we to judge?
I'm sorry.
We are at the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't care who you're bringing up. Like, we're going 8.5 or higher, brother.
Yeah. Yes.
Lynn Haven Rob texted and he said, all women are pretty.
Thank you, Lynn Haven.
Thank you for somebody being politically correct. We appreciate it. All right, we all had the same picks on the NFC side. So if the Eagles do not beat the Buccaneers, we all did not get one pick right in the first round of the... well, now we'll have to continue our brackets as we move along. All right, Jay, real quick, because I know you got to go. Well, we got 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, you remember when the beginning of the season, we picked who we thought would win the divisions and the wild card and all that stuff. Well, two of us still have the AFC and the NFC champions available. Do you know who the one isn't?
Me?
Yes. Do you remember who you picked?
I had Dallas going to the Super Bowl.
You picked Dallas and the Bills in the Super Bowl. The Bills' chance is still alive, but obviously Dallas has been eliminated. David has the Chiefs and the Niners. I have the Ravens and the Niners. So we'll see how that all plays out. Now getting to our picks. Now, there's 2 games that still have to be played, so we don't have those in here yet, and that's obviously the Bills and the Steelers coming up. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's a good thing you're leaving at the end of the segment.
Right, I'm sorry.
I feel like you lost it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, Texans, Browns. Y'all picked the Browns. I picked the Texans. Chiefs, Dolphins. We haven't even talked about that game yet, but the Chiefs handedly took care of the Dolphins. Me and David could talk a little bit. We'll talk about it real fast. Did you watch any of that?
A little bit. Yeah, I was curious. Well, no, I didn't. It was on Peacock.
Oh, it was on Peacock. So you didn't spend the $5.99?
I did not.
Or do the illegal streaming?
No.
Neither one. Neither one. You know, it was crazy. That was the most streamed event in the history of time.
Yikes.
I had it somewhere. Maybe it's gone.
Is it just the hype of the weather and all that, the Ice Bowl?
No, it's the NFL.
It's okay. I got you.
I think there was like, I'll find it before our last segment talking about that Peacock streaming. But
what about it?
Just the amount.
23 million.
23 million, which the next highest was a game earlier on Prime earlier this season. Yeah, 23 million people, and they had a spike in subscriptions. So I don't know how that correlates to revenue for Peacock based on what they spent to have the exclusivity to that broadcast. But maybe it paid off, maybe it didn't. There was no commercials in the fourth quarter.
That's a positive.
Right? That's the difference in streaming. Cable. I don't know. Wild. Anyway, that game kind of went as everybody expected it to go. The Chiefs were able to pass the ball, right? And the Dolphins couldn't. But it's also because the Chiefs got the run game going, and that opened up the passing game a little bit for them. The Dolphins just couldn't make anything. Just one deep pass to Tyreek Hill. That was really it. Couldn't run the football, didn't open up the passing lanes. The Chiefs sold out on the run, and they just couldn't make it happen. And they ended up losing pretty handily to the Chiefs there in that one. Kind of saw it coming, I guess, because of the cold weather. I think it ended up being the 4th coldest game in NFL history.
As a coach with this cold weather, are you constantly moving people in and out of sideline to? I mean, I'm sure it's the opposite as far as like it being 110 degrees outside, right?
I mean, you still got to leave your primo guys in there. I mean, you're rotating probably maybe a little more, but I think if I was playing, I'd rather be on the field. And now they got those warmers and stuff off the field, but I think I'd rather be on the field playing.
And everybody survived.
Nobody got frostbite.
Nobody got frostbite.
That we know of.
Yeah.
There's probably some people in the crowd that did, but hopefully you had some Miami fans not wearing shirts.
That's insane.
I guess it gets to a point you can't feel. It's like naked and afraid at that point.
Right.
Except with no animal skins.
Yeah.
All right. So we all took the Chiefs in that one. This is something I don't do very often, but I'm going to allow you guys the opportunity. Bills, Steelers. All 3 of us picked the Bills. Does anybody want to change?
Oh, boy.
No, sir.
I know David's not going to.
Are you going to change?
No.
That's a good question.
No. Especially after what the Packers did to the Cowboys. That means the Steelers could do it to the Bills.
I'm not selling out on my team. I think
on my team. I love it.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win.
All 3 of us picked the Cowboys. The Cowboys did not win that. I think most of America picked the Cowboys in that one. ESPN did their little bracket thing, with fantasy football and all that, and the percentages were astronomical towards the Cowboys in that one. And then the Rams, Lions, all 3 of us picked the Rams in that one. Lions got it done. We didn't have faith. But it was close, though. It was a great game. It was wild. The first 2 games were very lopsided. And, I mean, they were entertaining, but they were very lopsided. And then the Green Bay game, I told David this. I was like, I was worried that game was going to be lopsided. And, in fact, it was. Just the opposite way than I thought it would be. And then you had a great last game on Monday or Sunday Night Football. This is weird. It's Monday, but we still have 2 football games. Wild.
Yeah, do you think either one of these will be competitive? Not. Will they be close games? Will they be close games?
I actually think they'll both be close games.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the second game will probably be closer than people think. The Steelers-Bills game is going to be interesting just because the conditions are so wild. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to play in -7-degree temperature, but it's another thing to play when there's that much snow and frozen turf on the ground and wind and all that stuff. That would have been wild if they played yesterday.
Well, with you being up from the Northeast in Buffalo, is life still going on today with all that going on? Or, I mean, not really?
In Orchard Park, New York, it is. Yeah, I mean, when you have a wait light, school will get canceled. You'd have to wait for the plows to come. Typically, they put salt down on the road, but they got, I think, 3+ feet of snow in 24 hours, something like that. That's why these guys have been shoveling nonstop in the stadium.
$20 an hour.
But kudos to your fan base, right? I know they're getting paid, but still, you got to go out there. But it looked like a party. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would have been a good time. All right, you only got 1 minute, Jay, before you got to go. Do you want to change your picks? You guys both picked the Eagles. I picked the Bucks. Anybody changing?
Oh, man. I think the Eagles are on the way up. I'm keeping the Eagles.
So then, no, A.J. Brown's out for the game. That broke since you made this pick.
Still keeping the Eagles.
All right, there you go. David sticking with the Eagles?
Staying steadfast.
There you go. And I'm not changing my Bucks pick either. All right, next 4 games, we picked 2 NHL, 2 NBA. The first one we did was the Devils and the Panthers. The House Money Cats were running on a 9-game winning streak. You picked the Devils, I picked the Devils. The Devils won that game 4-1. You got one there, Jay. Good job. And then Lightning Ducks, you took the Quackers. Me and David took the Lightning. Lightning won that one, I think, 5-1, David? Something like that. Yeah, 5-1. They took that one.
That was at the game.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good game to be at there if you're a Lightning fan. The Ducks are terrible, though. Then we did the Magic and the Thunder. NBA, you and I both picked the Magic. David picked the Thunder. David got that one as the Thunder won that game. And then last but not least, we did the Pelicans and the Mavericks. David picked the Mavericks. You and I picked the Pelicans. The Pelicans won that game.
All right.
So as of right now, David's got 3. I've got 5. You've got 3. But if the Bucks beat the Eagles, then I've got 6. And we're going to be tied up. I'm down 4. That would be 4, right? If I got 3 right now and we win more, yeah, it'd be 4.
That would be.
Anything you want to leave the people with? Scale to 1 to 10?
Just enjoy the Martin Luther King holiday today and
stay warm.
Stay warm.
There you go. When we get back, me and David will talk a little bit more about these games coming up and what we think. We haven't even talked to, the news broke. Kalen DeBoer is now the coach at Alabama. That broke after our show on Friday. It feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that as well. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach want to help you make your dream kitchen a reality in 2024. Family owned and operated for over 20 years. They offer cabinets, countertops, flooring, and tile. Their cash and carry program offers Shaker White cabinets available the very next day. Call Kitchen Designs to make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2024 Kia. You'll see why everyone is talking about Kia. The 2024 Kia will give you the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in a luxury sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia K5. Performance, power, and design built just for you. Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Bill Bird Kia, the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you just like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty.
And now, the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk. Tell me what you know. You're out!
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Chicken.
Hey, and welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay's hitting the old dusty trail on a scale of 1 to 10. Does he make it back in time for his lesson or not?
What, he's got to be there by 1?
I think so.
Oh, unless he stops and gets lunch, then yeah, he'll be fine.
Knowing Jay, he'll get distracted and stop and get some lunch.
But don't y'all got good lunch over there at the B72?
We do. We even got some grab and goes as well. You can get the old traditional hot dog, or we got some sandwiches always ready to go.
That buffalo chicken quesadilla.
I might have to get one this afternoon now that you said that. But yeah, most likely we will not be open tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll have some news on our Facebook page coming out later. Golf shop may be open for a few hours just to field your phone calls, or if you want to come do some shopping, as we have a really good winter sale that we just launched today. Everything in the golf shop is 20% off, excluding clubs and balls, and then we have select merchandise racks of 40% off, 30% off, and we've even got a 50% off rack right there in the golf shop. It is that time of year. You got to dress warm. We even sell hot hands in the golf shop. That's where I get my hot hands when we're getting ready to practice and do some dynasty flag football action, which looking forward to doing some practice tonight. Feels like forever since we've been out there, so looking forward to it. All right, David. 2 big games coming up this afternoon. This afternoon and this evening. Not very often we get 2 NFL football games on a holiday Monday. The first one will be those Buffalo Bills bringing the Pittsburgh Steelers into town. Weather's been absolutely crazy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. Field conditions are going to be very, very difficult. Bills take this one?
I think so. I mean, if the defense, no TJ Watt, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to get pressure on Josh Allen. The Bills have been playing better. They've been running the ball better. You're still going to get some turnovers from Josh Allen, but We saw that in Week 18 against the Dolphins, and they were able to overcome that after 2 incredulous throws from Josh Allen. Had no idea where they were going, and then a fumble as well. But I just think that the Bills are a hot team right now, and as long as it's not Josh Allen turning the ball. I just think that the Bills are too strong for the Steelers, and I don't believe in Mason Rudolph on the road in this particular game. I guess I could say this, though. Am I going to be surprised if the Steelers win? Very much so. But the reason why I wouldn't be is because I've gotten everything wrong in these playoffs.
Well, and it's, the conditions are certainly different, that's for sure. I was just looking up the forecast up there. The wind has certainly died down a little bit, only 13 miles an hour. It's 15 degrees currently up there, so not nearly as cold as it was in Kansas City. We tend to talk about when you're playing in these extreme cold weather games, we talk about running the football and all that stuff. But that's where the Chiefs separated themselves in that game against the Dolphins, as they came out, their first 2 plays were passes, might have been the first 3 were passes, and they were able to get the ball, out to some of their receivers. I thought Rashid Rice had a fantastic game actually catching the football, which was pretty cool, and that in turn led to getting Pacheco going and the run game going. So don't be surprised if you see a good bit of passing in this game, and I think that the advantage certainly is the Bills in that one. I read something, I forget who it was, it might have been Belichick. Somebody said it's a lot easier to pass block when it's this cold than run block.
That's a really good point. Oh, well, it's really interesting. I would have never really thought about that.
There's more to it than just that, but trying to remember, but yeah, and I guess it has something to do with the physicality of the run blocking versus.
Well, when you're run blocking, you're continuously blocking, right? If the ground is slippery, then that makes it a little bit harder. Whereas with pass blocking, it's step up, hit, and so that's a really good point right there. And then the other thing, for the side of the Steelers here, is being able to change, not just control, change the tempo on the Buffalo Bills, and using that dynamic duo that you have in Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris, and just kind of continuously change the tempo on them, and that could bode well for the Steelers. End of the day, gotta love what Mike Tomlin brings to the football field.
Yeah, he's been there before. He knows how to make it done, and should be a very another interesting game to watch on the television with the crazy stuff that's been going on. Buffalo fans have been shoveling snow for what seems like 24 hours with how much snow they've got. They're supposed to get some more snow tomorrow as well, but that really won't matter. But yeah, now moving down to the Eagles-Bucks game, which I think is a little bit more difficult to choose in this one, just because both teams kind of slumping a little bit into the playoffs. Obviously, you can say the Eagles have kind of been on a tough run, 1-5 in their last 6 games. Can the Eagles flip a switch? They got a lot of talent. No A.J. Brown. Their defense hasn't been playing that great, but maybe getting back to the RPO a little bit, keeping that Tampa Bay defense off. Right now, it's currently precipitating over there in Tampa. I was trying to look at the weather, the hourly forecast. I just got the 10 days, but 65, light wind and some light rain down there in Tampa. What do you think about this one coming up tonight?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you pose that question, is can they flip the switch? It's different when it feels different when you ask the question, and it's will they be able to flip that switch? But now the question is, with the last 5 to 6 weeks of watching the Philadelphia Eagles, is do they even have that switch to flip? And the lack of A.J. Brown, I think you can look at that 2 ways. Obviously, very talented wide receiver, and normally the number 1 for Jalen Hurts. I wonder, though, with the lack of him, and so that kind of shoots Devontae Smith up the ladder, depending on how his health is dealing with in this game. I believe he's got an ankle ailment. But I wonder if there has been any type of disorganization in the locker room. If there's any type of disparity between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, could this be beneficial? I don't know. I know you're taking a lot of talent off, but I wonder if there's been any rifts in between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, just from some of the stuff that he's been posting on Instagram.
Yeah, he took all his Eagles posts off his Instagram. He does
that every year.
Yeah, these guys are such attention people. But you're right. To that point, does that light a fire? Does Jalen Hurts, I don't have to worry about throwing to A.J. Brown anymore, which is a terrible way to look at playing football. But if that's the reality of the situation, that may open up some things. Tampa Bay's got to be able to run the football, open up the play action passing for Baker and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's. Their secondary for Philadelphia has struggled in late, too. It's going to be raining at kickoff. 97% chance of some light rains. The field will be wet. Not any wind at all. So just a little rainy, mild temperatures. It's crazy how every one of these games that haven't been indoors has had some kind of weather affecting it. But that's playoff football in January.
Oh, gotta love the weather, man. And James Leahy texted in, and he says that his cousin up there in Buffalo says that the skies are blue and the field is clear.
Sweet. Yeah, I saw some pictures earlier of the sunrise coming up there in Orchard Park. It's going to be a chilly but a fun football game to watch. All right, Lions are moving on. They're obviously going to play the winner of the Eagles-Bucks game. If you're the Lions, who would you rather play?
This one's tough. Both teams would be coming to Detroit. Oh, man. Again, it's the Eagles, kind of like the Chiefs, are a team that if they even feel like they get something going, then they're going to be more dangerous than what the Bucks are, because we don't know what we got in the Eagles at all. But I think that we all kind of have a good feeling of what we got in the Bucks, which is a feisty team that can win games, and they can do that as long as Baker Mayfield takes care of the ball.
Yeah.
And so I think that the Lions match up well with both of these teams. But if I'm Jared Goff, if I'm Dan Campbell and the Lions, which I don't think they want to look at this like, which team would we rather play? And I don't think that they are. For me, it would be the Buccaneers, just because ceiling seems to be talent-wise a little bit higher for the Eagles, whereas I think we know what we've got out of the Bucks.
Yeah, definitely. And Baker Mayfield dealing with some injuries himself. He was questionable for this game, but he is in fact playing. Jalen Hurts, I don't even know if he's thrown any footballs recently with that finger injury. So both quarterbacks for both these teams definitely dealing with some injuries. So it could be a big, heavy run game for sure. All right, on the other side, obviously we already know the matchup in the NFC. Number 1 seed Niners going against the number 7 seed Packers after the Packers beat the Cowboys yesterday. But on the flip side, we don't know any of the matchups yet. We know that the number 4 seed has moved on. Ravens are the number 1 seed. They got the first round bye. Chiefs have already taken care of the Dolphins, so you've got the 3 and the 4 seed still in the mix. But if the Bills beat the Steelers, the Bills would be playing the Texans. And if the Steelers beat the Bills, then the Steelers would be playing the Ravens. If you're the Houston Texans, would you rather... That's a stupid question. I take it back. I was going to say, would you rather play the Steelers or the Bills?
Steelers.
Yes, that's why it was a stupid question. But, Bills win this one. It will be the Bills versus the Texans and the Chiefs versus the Ravens.
I don't know if you get better playoff matchups than that. I don't know if any team, like the Ravens, what's worse for the Ravens right here is that they didn't play their starters in Week 18. They got the bye week. And it just has trended in the direction that the teams with the byes they lose a little bit of steam. And look at what Houston is going into the playoffs and going into the divisional round with, which is a head full of steam. And then that would be Bills, Texans, and then Ravens, Chiefs. I mean, golly, Lamar and Patrick, that would be some good stuff, man.
Yeah, that'd be a great matchup on the AFC side, that's for sure. But yeah, the Texans have to travel then up to Orchard Park, and who knows what the weather would be like next weekend, whereas the Chiefs are used to playing in all sorts of kind of weather. They'd have to go to Baltimore in that situation.
I think if we want to use that same question that we did with the Lions, who would they rather play? Take the Texans.
Okay.
The Texans, would you rather play the Ravens or the Bills?
Whew. That's tough.
That one is tough. I think that the Texans match up better with the Bills, but I'm
going to go back to your point. I'm going to go back to your point about the Ravens being on a bye week. They haven't been playing. Do you want to play a team that just had to play a very difficult weather condition, hard-nosed football game that could get a lot of... And there's another point on that side is, are they going to get beat up in this game? Whereas the Ravens obviously are healthy. Even I heard Mark Andrews is practicing again. So, yeah, there's so many... And you can't think of it that way because you can't choose who you're going to play, and you got to play whoever's up. up. But yeah, that's a tough one. This is going to be good football on the AFC side either way.
I hope so, man. I hope so. We've been seeing a lot from the AFC this year, and I think the NFC is going to be interesting as well. The biggest question mark for me in the NFC is the same. The question mark for me in the AFC is almost the same as it is in the NFC. Like with the AFC, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're being counted out so much right now because all the talk is going on other teams and all Tua and the Dolphins and the Colts. It's like you do not want to see this team find success. The last thing that the rest of the NFL wanted to see was Rashee Rice with 8 catches over 150 yards.
Yeah.
That's the last
That's
thing
what everybody's been
wanted
talking
to see.
about with the Chiefs that they've been struggling with is finding that wide receiver, catching the football. Pacheco's running the football great, and Rashee Rice has opened up as an unbelievable rookie receiver, catching footballs in -4-degree weather. That opens up more for Travis Kelce. Yeah, you've been on the Chiefs going into these playoffs, and that
does not bode well for them.
That's a scary matchup probably for anybody. So yeah,
my Eagles are that team of the NFC though. Like if they sniff success, it could be a long road for the NFC.
I'd love to take the Eagles again in the NFC Championship.
Sure, that would be so good.
It'd be a fun rematch. That is for sure. But yeah, those games coming up. 3:30 is the evening game, the 7:15 game.
Yeah,
that one's on.
We'll do some live look-ins or some live listen-ins during the afternoon underdogs, and then we will have the Eagles-Bucks game.
The Eagles-Bucks game, Monday Night Football, your last Monday Night Football game of the year, and you get 2 games on the last Monday of the year. How about that? A gift to everybody who is an NFL fan out there. We appreciate y'all listening to the Inside Drive. Enjoy those games this evening. We'll be back tomorrow at 11. Afternoon underdogs coming up this afternoon at 4 p.m. Live listen-ins on the Bills-Steelers game coming up. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 11.